He thought he knew everyone in his empire until he divorced his black waitress. Then she married a Korean mafia boss. One look at her, one whispered name, and everything shifted. You'll see how one person's past can shake a mafia empire to its core. Watch closely. I'm standing in his penthouse right now, wearing a dress I didn't choose. The city lights below look like scattered diamonds, but all I feel is the weight of invisible chains. People think I'm lucky. They see the luxury, the protection, the way men in black suits clear paths for me wherever I go. They don't see the price. Min-jun saved my life 6 months ago. That's what everyone says. But nobody asked me if I wanted to be saved. Nobody asked if I wanted to owe him everything. It started the night my ex-husband, David, cornered me outside the diner. I was closing up late, keys shaking in my hand, when he grabbed my wrist. His breath reeked of whiskey and rage. "You think you can just walk away from me?" he hissed. The divorce papers were barely dry, but his ego was still bleeding. I tried to pull away. That's when the black Mercedes pulled up. Min-jun didn't say much that night. He just stepped out, looked at David once, and my ex-husband practically evaporated. No threats, no violence, just presence. The kind of power that doesn't need to explain itself. "Are you hurt?" Min-jun asked me. His voice was calm, almost gentle. I shook my head, still trembling. He nodded, then gestured to his car. "Let me take you somewhere safe." I should have said no. I should have called a cab, gone to my sister's place, anywhere but into that leather interior that smelled like expensive cologne and danger. But I was tired of being afraid, tired of being nothing. So I got in. That was my first mistake. Or maybe it was the moment everything changed. He took me to a hotel, paid for the room, left guards outside my door, disappeared before I could even thank him. I thought that was the end of it. A random act of kindness from a stranger. But the next morning, there was a phone, new, expensive, one number saved in it, and a note. "You're safe now. Call if you need anything." MJ. I didn't call. Not that day, not that week. But then David showed up at my apartment, then at my sister's house, then at the grocery store where I'd started picking up shifts. And every single time before things could escalate, Min-jun's men would appear, silent, efficient, terrifying. I never asked for protection, but I was getting it anyway. And with every intervention, the debt grew heavier. Before I even tell you what happened next, let me ask you this. Have you ever been trapped by someone's kindness? If you have, you'll feel this story deep in your soul. And if you know that kind of suffocation disguised as care, hit subscribe. Not because it helps me, but because stories like this remind us that sometimes the cage is lined with gold. The phone rang at 2 a.m. I'd been staring at it for weeks. That sleek black device sitting on my nightstand like a coiled snake. I knew who it was before I answered. There was only one person who had the number. "Hello?" My voice cracked. "Dinner, tomorrow, 8 o'clock. A car will pick you up." Min-jun's voice was steady, factual. Not a request, not even close. I have a shift." "Not anymore." The line went dead. I sat there in the dark, my heart hammering against my ribs. This was it. The bill was coming due. The next evening, I stood in front of my closet in my cramped apartment, staring at clothes that suddenly felt wrong. Too cheap, too worn, too me. Then I noticed the box on my bed. I hadn't heard anyone come in, but there it was, white, pristine, with a black silk ribbon. Inside was a dress. Midnight blue, elegant, probably worth more than 3 months of my rent. I wanted to throw it out the window. I wanted to scream that I didn't ask for any of this, but my hands were already reaching for it, already feeling the fabric between my fingers, already knowing I'd wear it. Because what choice did I have? The restaurant was the kind of place I'd only seen in movies, the kind where there's no prices on the menu, because if you have to ask, you don't belong. Min-jun was already seated when I arrived, looking like he owned not just the table but the entire building. "Sit," he said softly. I did. For a long moment, he just looked at me, not the way David used to, like I was something to possess. Min-jun's gaze was different, assessing, calculating, like I was a puzzle he was trying to solve. "You've been avoiding my calls," he said finally. I didn't know I was supposed to answer. A ghost of a smile. "You're wearing the dress." I didn't want to seem ungrateful. "Are you grateful?" The question hung in the air between us like smoke. I could lie. I could play the role he probably expected, the rescue damsel, thankful and pliant. But something in his eyes told me he'd see through it. "I don't know what I am," I admitted. "Confused, scared, trapped." "Trapped?" He leaned forward slightly. "I gave you protection, safety. Your ex-husband won't touch you again." "I didn't ask you to." "You didn't have to." His voice dropped lower. "When I see something worth protecting, I protect it. That's who I am. And what am I supposed to do in return?" The silence that followed felt like falling. "Be here," he said simply, "when I call. Where I ask, that's all." That's all. Like my freedom was a small price to pay. You know what hurts the most? Not what he demanded, but that part of me wanted to stay. That part of me liked the way he looked at me like I mattered. If you've ever confused control for care, you already understand this trap. Don't just scroll, subscribe. Join people who've been through it too, because you deserve stories that make you feel seen. 3 weeks in, and I still didn't understand the rules. Min-jun didn't explain things. He just expected me to know. Like the night he took me to some charity gala, and I reached for a glass of champagne from a passing waiter. His hand caught my wrist, not rough, but firm. "Not that one," he murmured. I looked at him, confused. "What's wrong with it?" "Everything here is watched, tested. You drink what I give you." He handed me a different glass from his own table. Same champagne, different source. And just like that, I realized I wasn't just in his world. I was a target in it. The photographer caught us mid-conversation. Flash, click, I blinked, disoriented. "Smile," Min-jun said quietly. "They're watching." "Who?" "Everyone who wants to see me weak." I didn't understand then. I thought he was being paranoid. But when we left that night and I checked my phone, my sister had already sent me 3 screenshots. Pictures of us. Articles with headlines like, "Mystery Woman Captures Korea's Most Dangerous Heart." I wasn't just protected anymore. I was claimed, publicly. "You should have asked me first," I said in the car. Min-jun glanced at me, his expression unreadable. "Asked you what?" "Before making me part of whatever this is, before putting my face everywhere. Would you have said yes?" I looked away. We both knew the answer. My ex-husband called me today, I said, changing the subject. First time in a month. Min-jun's jaw tightened, just barely, but I'd learned to read those micro expressions. What did he want? To warn me. Said I was in over my head. Said you're dangerous. He's right. The admission surprised me. Min-jun never talked about what he did. Never explained the phone calls in Korean at 3 a.m., the men who appeared and disappeared, the way entire rooms would shift when he entered. Then why am I here? I asked. He was quiet for a long time. The city blurred past the windows, lights and shadows, freedom and cages. Because you're the first person who doesn't pretend to understand, he finally said. Everyone else either fears me or wants something from me. You just exist. Honestly. It was the most vulnerable thing I'd ever heard him say, and it terrified me more than any threat, because I was starting to care what he thought, starting to wait for his calls, starting to feel like maybe this cage wasn't so bad if it meant being seen. The car stopped outside my apartment. Min-jun's driver opened my door, but I didn't move. What if I want to leave? I asked. What if I just want my normal life back? Min-jun looked at me with something that might have been sadness. Then leave. I won't stop you. But your ex-husband knows about us now. So does everyone else. And the moment I stop protecting you, they'll come. Not because of who you are, because of who you were to me. The trap closed tighter. When I finally stood my ground and asked for space, he called me ungrateful. But tell me, where was my choice when every option led back to him? If you've ever had to choose safety over freedom, this channel is your space. Subscribe, not for me, but for every person who learned that protection can be its own prison. I met her on a Thursday. Soo-jin. That's what Min-jun's assistant called her. But the way she looked at me said she didn't need an introduction. She already knew everything about me. She was beautiful in that effortless way that made me feel like I was playing dress-up. Perfect posture. Designer everything. The kind of woman who belonged in Min-jun's world naturally, not dragged into it by circumstance. So you're the waitress? She said, her English crisp with a Korean accent. We were at some business dinner I didn't understand. Min-jun had left me at the table while he spoke with some men out in the corner. I was nursing water, trying to look comfortable in another dress I didn't buy. I am, I said carefully. Soo-jin smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. How refreshing. Min-jun usually has better taste. The insult was wrapped in silk, but it still cut. I didn't ask to be here, I said. No? She tilted her head. Then why are you? Good question. One I've been asking myself every single day. He saved me from my ex-husband. Ah. Soo-jin took a delicate sip of wine. The hero complex. How predictable. Tell me, do you know what happened to the last woman he saved? My stomach dropped. There was someone else. There's always someone else, dear. Min-jun collects broken things, fixes them, then gets bored when they're no longer interesting. She leaned closer. You're a project, a charity case. The moment you stop being tragic, you stop being useful. I wanted to argue, wanted to defend whatever this thing between Min-jun and me was, but I couldn't, because part of me wondered if she was right. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because I like you, Soo-jin said simply. You seem genuine, and I'd hate to see you get hurt when he inevitably moves on. Min-jun returned then. His hand found the small of my back automatically, a gesture of possession I'd grown used to. Soo-jin's smile brightened instantly. Min-jun, I was just getting to know your friend. Soo-jin, his voice was cold. I thought you were in Seoul. Change of plans. She stood, gathering her purse. We should catch up soon. There's much to discuss about the merger. She left in a cloud of expensive perfume and unspoken threats. What did she say to you? Min-jun asked quietly. Nothing important. Don't lie to me. I looked up at him. Really looked. At the sharp jaw. The dark eyes that missed nothing. The controlled power in every movement. And I wondered, was I just another broken thing in his collection? She asked if I knew what happened to the last woman you saved. I said. Something flickered across his face. Anger, or maybe guilt. There was no one else. She seemed pretty sure. Soo-jin is... He stopped, reconsidered. Complicated. We grew up together. Our families are connected. She doesn't like change. Am I change? Yes. At least he was honest. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Soo-jin's words, about being a project, about what happens when broken things get fixed. I grabbed my phone, the one Min-jun gave me, and almost called my sister. But the truth was, I didn't know what to say. Help? I'm trapped by a man who's never actually trapped me. Help? I'm falling for my own captor. Help? I don't know if this is protection or possession. The phone buzzed. A text from Min-jun. Can't sleep either. Rooftop, if you want. I should have stayed in bed. Should have created distance. Should have remembered I was just a project. But I grabbed my jacket and went upstairs anyway. He was standing at the edge looking out over the city. He didn't turn when I approached. Soo-jin was lying, he said quietly. There was no woman before you. There was only work, power, control. Then you got in my car and everything became complicated. Complicated how? He finally looked at me. I don't know how to do this. How to want something that isn't strategy. My heart was hammering. What do you want? I don't know yet, but I know I'm not bored. It wasn't a declaration of love. It wasn't even a promise. But it was real, raw, human. And that made it more dangerous than anything else. The kiss happened on a Tuesday. I wasn't prepared for it. Wasn't expecting Min-jun to be human enough to want something as simple as touch. We'd been walking through his private garden, this hidden space on top of his building that nobody else knew about. He'd been quiet all evening, which usually meant he was thinking about business. But then he stopped, turned to me, and the way he looked at me made my breath catch. I need to tell you something, he said. Okay? Your ex-husband took money from some people, dangerous people, people who work for my rivals. My blood went cold. What? $50,000? He told them he could use you to get to me, to get information. The world tilted. David doesn't even know you. He does now. He's been watching us, taking pictures, selling them to anyone who will pay. I felt sick. So this whole time, the protection, the guards, everything, it wasn't about keeping him away from me. It was about keeping me away from your enemies. Min-jun's jaw tightened. Both. It's always been both. How long have you known? 2 weeks? 2 weeks? My voice rose. You've known for 2 weeks that my ex-husband is putting a target on my back, and you didn't tell me? I was handling it. I'm not something to handle, Min-jun. I'm a person. I deserve to know when I'm in danger. You've been in danger since the moment you got in my car. His composure cracked. Do you think I go around saving random women? Do you think this is normal for me? Then why did you? Because he stopped. His hands clenched into fists. Because when I saw him grab you that night, something in me shifted. I looked at you, and I saw something worth protecting. Something real in a world of lies. So I'm what? Your redemption project. You're the only honest thing in my life. The words hung between us like a confession. And before I could think, before I could remember all the reasons this was wrong, he was kissing me. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate. Like he'd been holding back for months and finally broke. His hands cupped my face and I melted into him, my fingers gripping his shirt, pulling him closer. When we finally pulled apart, we were both breathing hard. This is a mistake, I whispered. I know. You're dangerous. This whole world is dangerous. I know. I should leave. I should run as far away as possible. His thumb traced my bottom lip. But you won't. He was right, and we both knew it. That night, everything shifted. We stopped pretending this was just protection. Stopped pretending the tension between us was nothing. He took me to his penthouse, the real one, not the guest rooms I'd been staying in, and showed me what wanting something looked like when you'd spent your whole life taking everything by force. He was gentle, careful, like I was something precious instead of another possession. And for the first time since this all started, I felt like maybe I wasn't just a debt to be paid. Maybe I was a choice he was making. But morning came with reality. I woke up alone. Min-jun's side of the bed was cold. There was a note on the pillow. Had to handle something. Stay inside. Tae-sung is outside your door. Stay inside. Like I was back to being a prisoner. Except now the cage felt different because I'd invited myself in. I found my phone. 17 missed calls from David. My hands shook as I listened to the voicemail. I know you're with him. I know everything. And if you think he actually cares about you, you're stupider than I thought. You're a pawn, sweetheart. Nothing more. But hey, at least you'll die in designer clothes. The threat was clear. David wasn't just trying to get money anymore. He wanted revenge. I called Min-jun. It went straight to voicemail. Then the power went out. Tae-sung burst through the door immediately. We need to move now. What's happening? Your ex-husband just walked into one of our establishments with enough explosives to level the block. He's asking for you. My entire body went numb. He's bluffing. He's not. Tae-sung grabbed my arm. Min-jun is there now, trying to negotiate. But if David doesn't see you in the next 30 minutes, people die. This was my fault. All of it. I'd brought chaos into Min-jun's controlled world. I'd made him vulnerable. Take me to him, I said. Min-jun ordered me to keep you safe. I don't care what he ordered. This is my mess. I'm ending it. You know what's worse than being trapped? Being the reason someone else gets hurt. If you've ever carried guilt that wasn't entirely yours to carry, you know this weight. Hit subscribe right now. Not for me, but because somewhere someone else is watching this and blaming themselves for someone else's choices. Your click reminds them they're not alone. Don't scroll past this. The building was surrounded by police when we arrived, but Min-jun's men were already inside. I could see them through the windows, armed, positioned, waiting for orders. And in the center of it all, through the glass doors, I saw David. He looked different. Thinner, wild-eyed. Like the man I'd married had been replaced by something desperate and broken. He was wearing a vest, bulky, with wires visible. His hand gripped a trigger. Min-jun stood 10 feet away from him, calm, controlled, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. "I'm going in," I told Tae-sung. "Absolutely not." I was already walking. The police tried to stop me, but Min-jun's men created a path. I pushed through the doors, and every head turned. David's face twisted into something between relief and rage. "There she is, my beautiful wife." "Ex-wife," I corrected, my voice steadier than I felt. Min-jun's eyes locked on mine. There was fury there, and fear. Real human fear. "You shouldn't be here," he said quietly. "Neither should any of these people." I looked at David. "What do you want?" "What do I want?" David laughed, the sound cracked and wrong. "I want my life back. I want the money I lost. I want you to stop pretending you're better than me just because you're sleeping with some Korean gangster. I never said I was better than you. You didn't have to. You left me, divorced me, moved on like I was nothing. Then I see you in magazines, at fancy parties, wearing clothes worth more than our entire marriage. You think that doesn't hurt." For a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. "You hit me, David, multiple times. You gambled away our savings. You made me feel worthless every single day. I was under pressure. And now you're wearing a bomb. Real healthy coping mechanism." His finger twitched on the trigger. Everyone in the room tensed. "Let them go," I said, gesturing to the staff David had trapped inside. "This is between us, not them." "No," David's voice hardened. "This is between me and him." He pointed at Min-jun. "He took you. He ruined my chance at getting clean. Those people I owe, they'll kill me because of him." "They'll kill you because you borrowed money from criminals," Min-jun said, his voice ice cold. "I had nothing to do with your poor choices. You have everything to do with it. She was supposed to come back to me. We were supposed to work it out. Then you showed up with your money and your power and your—" "I showed up because you were hurting her," Min-jun interrupted. "And unlike you, when I see something worth protecting, I don't destroy it." The words hit David like a slap. His face flushed red. "Worth protecting? She's a waitress, a nobody. You'll get bored in a month and throw her away like everyone else." "Enough." I stepped forward. "David, you're right about one thing. I am a nobody. I was a waitress. I'm probably in over my head. But the difference between you and him," I gestured to Min-jun, "he's never once made me feel small for it." David's hand trembled. "You really love him." It wasn't a question. It was an accusation. And standing there, with a bomb between us and my past and future colliding, I realized the truth. "Yes," I said simply, "I do." Min-jun's expression flickered. Surprise. Something deeper. David's face crumpled. "Then I really did lose everything." "You lost yourself long before you lost me," I said gently. "This isn't about Min-jun. This is about you not knowing who you are without someone to control. For a long moment, David just stood there. Then slowly, carefully, he reached for the vest. Don't, Min-jun started. But David was pulling it off, letting it drop to the floor. His hands raised in surrender. It's fake, he said, his voice hollow. The whole thing. I needed you to see me, to acknowledge what you did. The police rushed in immediately. David didn't resist. As they led him away, he looked at me one last time. I hope he's worth it, he said. He is. Because somehow, against every logical thought, Min-jun had become the first man to ever make me feel like I was enough exactly as I was. The building cleared. Min-jun pulled me aside, his hands on my shoulders. You could have died. So could you. I'm used to that risk. You're not. Maybe I need to be, if I'm staying in your world. His grip tightened. Are you? Staying? I looked into his eyes, those dark, unreadable eyes that had seen too much and somehow still found room to see me. Ask me properly, I said. Stay. His voice was rough. Not because you owe me, not because it's safe. Stay because you want to. It was the first time he'd ever given me a real choice. Okay, I whispered. I'll stay. He kissed me then. In front of his men, the police, everyone. A public claim, a promise. And for better or worse, I was his. Loving Min-jun came with a manual I never received. Rule 1. Never ask about the blood on his shirt. Rule 2. Don't question why men disappear after meetings in his office. Rule 3. Pretend the gun under his pillow is normal. I broke all 3 rules within a week. It was a Sunday morning. We were having breakfast, something we'd started doing, this weird attempt at normal. He was reading something on his phone, his jaw tight. I noticed the cuts on his knuckles. What happened to your hand? Nothing. Min-jun. I said it's nothing. His tone was final, closed. But I was done accepting nothing as an answer. Was it about David? Did you... Your ex-husband is in jail awaiting trial. That's all you need to know. But someone hurt you. He looked up sharply. Someone tried, they failed. That's how this works. People try, they fail, life continues. That's not normal. I never promised you normal. He was right, but it still hurt. The thing about dating a mafia boss, and yes, I'd finally admitted that's what he was, is that you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Every phone call could be a threat. Every business meeting could turn deadly. Every kiss could be the last one. Soo-jin made sure I understood that perfectly. She showed up at the penthouse 3 days later. I was alone. Min-jun had gone to handle something in Busan. She walked in like she owned the place. We need to talk, she said, settling onto the couch I'd just been reading on. Does Min-jun know you're here? Min-jun doesn't control everything, despite what he thinks. She crossed her legs elegantly. I came to give you a choice. What kind of choice? The kind that saves your life. She pulled out a folder, slid it across the table. Open it. Inside were photographs. Min-jun with various people, meetings, exchanges, and then photos of bodies, crime scenes, police reports. These are the people who got too close, Soo-jin explained. Business partners, allies, one lover from years ago, all dead within months of becoming important to him. My hand shook. You're lying. I'm protecting you. Min-jun has enemies, real ones. And they don't attack him directly, they attack what he loves. His father was killed that way, his younger brother, even his dog when he was 16. Why are you telling me this? Because unlike the others, you didn't choose this life. You stumbled into it. And I think you deserve to know what staying means. She stood, smoothing her dress. He cares about you. I can see that, which means you're already a target. The question is, are you willing to die for him? Because eventually, someone will make you. She left me with the folder and a choice I wasn't ready to make. When Min-jun came home that night, I was still sitting with those photos. He saw them immediately. His expression went cold. Soo-jin was here? Yes. What did she tell you? The truth, apparently, about everyone you've lost. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he sat beside me, close but not touching. My father died when I was 19, he said quietly. Shot in our family home because he refused to merge territories with the Yakuza. My brother was 14. Wrong place, wrong time. Car bomb meant for me. Min-jun, you want the truth? Here it is. Everyone I love becomes a weapon against me, so I stopped loving. I built walls. I became the thing people feared so much they wouldn't dare touch what was mine. Then why let me in? He finally looked at me. Because I'm tired. Tired of being alone. Tired of being the monster. His hand found mine. You make me feel human again. And yes, that's dangerous. But maybe I'm selfish enough not to care. People could die because you care about me. People die every day in my world. At least with you, there's a reason to keep fighting. It should have been romantic. Instead, it felt like a death sentence we were both signing. I pulled my hand away. I need time to think about this, about us. How much time? I don't know. He nodded slowly. Then I'll wait. But while you're deciding, he stood, walked to his safe, pulled out a gun, placed it on the table between us. Learn to use this, because if you stay, you need to be able to protect yourself when I can't. The gun sat there like a promise and a threat. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about those photos, about Min-jun's brother, about becoming just another casualty in a war I didn't understand. But I also thought about the way he looked at me, the way he touched me like I was something precious, the way he'd given me choice when everyone else had tried to take it away. Maybe love was supposed to be safe, but maybe some kinds of love were worth the risk. I picked up the gun, felt its weight, and made my decision. The shooting lesson started the next morning. Tae-sung was my instructor. He didn't ask questions, just handed me safety glasses and ear protection like this was the most normal thing in the world. Stance first, he said. Feet shoulder-width apart, grip firm but not tense. The gun felt wrong in my hands. Too heavy, too real. I don't know if I can actually shoot someone, I admitted. You won't know until you have to. Tae-sung adjusted my arms. But the point isn't to kill. It's to survive long enough for help to arrive. I thought about Min-jun's brother. 14 years old, wrong place, wrong time. I pulled the trigger. The recoil shocked me. The target barely moved. I'd missed completely, but something in me shifted. Fear turning into determination. Again, Tae-sung said. By the end of the session, I could hit the target. Not perfectly, not like in movies, but enough. Min-jun was waiting when I finished. He looked at the target, my shaky grouping of shots, and something like pride crossed his face. Better than my first time, he said. Somehow I doubt that. I cried. I was 8. My father made me shoot bottles in our backyard. I hated it. It was the most vulnerable thing he'd ever shared, this glimpse of a boy forced to become a weapon. I'm sorry, I said. Don't be. That boy is dead. Has been for a long time. Maybe not. I touched his face. Maybe he's just buried under everything else. He kissed my palm. Stay, please. I know it's selfish. I know I'm asking you to risk everything. But stay. I'm not going anywhere, I whispered. The relief in his eyes broke my heart. That night, he took me to meet his mother. I wasn't prepared for that. Wasn't prepared for the traditional Korean home in the countryside. The garden with stone statues. The woman in a hanbok who looked at me like I was a ghost. Ioma, Min-jun said softly. This is... I know who she is. His mother's English was perfect, her accent minimal. I've seen the photos. Read the articles. You're the American waitress my son has risked everything for. I didn't ask him to. No, you didn't, which is why I wanted to meet you. She gestured to the tea table. Sit, both of you. The tea ceremony was silent, precise, heavy with tradition and judgment. Finally, his mother spoke. My husband died protecting this family. My youngest son died because of it. Min-jun is all I have left. Her eyes bore into mine. If you stay with him, you accept that you may die too. Are you prepared for that? The bluntness stole my breath. Ioma, Min-jun started. Let her answer. I thought about David, about the diner, about the life I'd left behind, small, safe, suffocating. Then I thought about Min-jun, the way he'd given me choice when he could have just taken, the way he saw me as whole, not broken. No one's ever prepared to die, I said carefully, but I'd rather live dangerously with him than safely without him. His mother studied me for a long moment. Then, unexpectedly, she smiled. You have spine. Good. You'll need it. She poured more tea. My son has made many choices I disagreed with. This is not one of them. It was the closest thing to a blessing I'd get. On the drive back, Min-jun was quiet. His hand found mine in the darkness. Thank you, he said. For what? For not running? Most people would have. I'm not most people. No, you're not. We were almost back to the city when the car exploded. Not our car, the one behind us. Tae-sung's car. I watched through the rear window as flames consumed it, as the vehicle flipped, as debris scattered across the highway. Min-jun's driver accelerated immediately. Min-jun pushed me down, covering me with his body. Stay down! More explosions. Gunfire. The windshield cracked. Our car swerved violently. They were waiting for us, Min-jun's driver shouted. They knew the route. Who? I screamed. But Min-jun's face had gone cold. Empty. The face of someone who'd killed before and would kill again. The Yakuza. They're making their move. Our car crashed through a barrier. We were off-road now, speeding through darkness. Behind us, headlights, chasing. Min-jun pulled out his phone, barked orders in Korean. Then he looked at me. When we stop, you run, north. Don't look back. My men will find you. I'm not leaving you. This isn't a discussion. The car stopped. Min-jun shoved me out. I stumbled, hit the ground hard. Through the ringing in my ears, I heard more gunfire. Saw Min-jun and his driver taking cover, returning fire. I should have run. Should have followed orders. Instead, I grabbed the gun from my purse, the one I'd started carrying after today's lesson, and I stayed. Because loving someone means standing with them, even when the world is burning. Especially then. I killed someone at 11:47 p.m. on a Wednesday. His name was Kenji. I learned that later. In the moment, he was just a shadow moving towards Min-jun with a knife, and my hands moved before my brain could stop them. The gun kicked. The sound was deafening. Kenji dropped. For 3 seconds, the world stopped. Then Min-jun was grabbing me, pulling me behind the car, and everything became noise again. I couldn't finish the sentence. Yes, Min-jun's voice was hard. Don't think about it now. Survive first. Process later. But how do you not think about taking a life? How do you just keep moving when someone's blood is on your hands? Literally, because when I looked down, there were spatters on my sleeve. More of Min-jun's men arrived. The gunfire stopped. The attackers retreated into the darkness like ghosts, and I just stood there shaking while Min-jun gave orders around me. Tae-sung had survived the explosion. Barely. They pulled him from the wreckage with burns and broken ribs, but alive. He looked at me as they loaded him into the medical van, and something passed between us. Understanding, maybe? Welcome to the family. Min-jun took me to a safe house I didn't know existed. It was small, hidden in the mountains, the kind of place you'd never find unless you knew exactly where to look. Inside, he sat me down, cleaned the blood off my hands with warm water and a gentleness that made me want to scream. You saved my life, he said quietly. I killed someone. Yes. Doesn't that bother you? He paused, towel still in his hands. It bothers me that you had to. It bothers me that I brought you into a world where that became necessary. But the act itself, he met my eyes. No, because if you hadn't, I'd be dead. I started crying then. Not pretty tears, ugly, choking sobs that shook my whole body. Min-jun pulled me against his chest and just held me while I fell apart. I can't do this, I whispered. I can't be this person. You already are. You just didn't know it yet. That's not comforting. It's not meant to be. It's just true. He pulled back, cupped my face. Everyone has violence in them. The difference is circumstance. You had yours tonight. And now what? I just carry this forever? Yes, like I do. Like everyone in this life does. His thumb wiped away my tears. But you don't carry it alone. That's what I'm here for. We stayed in that safe house for 3 days. No phones, no contact. Just us and the weight of what happened. On the second night, I finally asked the question that had been burning in my mind. How many people have you killed? Min-jun was silent for a long time. Do you really want to know? Yes. 17, directly. Many more indirectly through orders. The number should have horrified me. Instead, I just felt tired. Do you remember their names? Every single one. Does it get easier? No. You just get better at carrying it. I thought about Kenji, about the way he'd fallen. about the fact that he probably had a family somewhere, people who loved him, a life beyond being my first kill. I need to know why, I said. Why did the Yakuza attack us? What's really going on? Min-jun hesitated. Then he made a decision. I could see it in his eyes. There's a territory war brewing. Has been for months. The Yakuza wants Seoul. My family has held it for 3 generations. They're trying to weaken us by targeting what we love. Me? Yes, you're the crack in my armor. Everyone knows it now. Because I'm weak. Because I love you. He said it simply, matter-of-factly, like it was obvious. And love makes you vulnerable in ways power never does. It was the first time he'd said it out loud. You love me, I repeated, testing the words. Yes. Even though I'm a liability, even though I got Tae-sung hurt, even though he kissed me, deep and desperate and real, especially because of all that, he said against my lips. You're the only person who makes me want to be more than what I am. We made love that night like it might be the last time. Slow and intense and full of things we couldn't say out loud. And afterward, lying in his arms, I realized something. I wasn't leaving. Not because I couldn't, but because I'd found something worth fighting for. Even if it meant more blood, more violence, more impossible choices. I love you too, I whispered into the darkness. His arms tightened around me. I know, that's what terrifies me most. Because love in this world wasn't a fairy tale, it was a weapon. And we just handed our enemies the sharpest blade possible. Sometimes love isn't about finding peace. It's about choosing who you'll fight beside when everything falls apart. If you've ever loved someone despite knowing it would destroy you, you understand this. Subscribe now. Because this story isn't about happy endings. It's about the ones we fight for anyway. Don't just watch. Be part of it. Min-jun proposed in a hospital room. Romantic, right? But that's how things worked in his world. Beauty wrapped in chaos. We'd gone to visit Tae-sung. He was recovering well, already complaining about the food and flirting with nurses. Min-jun had just finished briefing him on the Yakuza situation when he turned to me. Marry me. I thought I'd misheard. What? Marry me. Tomorrow. Next week. Whenever you want. But marry me. Tae-sung's eyes went wide. Even he hadn't seen this coming. Min-jun, you can't just... Why not? I love you. You love me. Everything else is just details. Details? We've known each other 6 months. I killed someone 3 days ago. There's literally a war happening around us. Exactly. Which is why we shouldn't wait. He took my hand. In my world, tomorrow isn't guaranteed. I want whatever time we have to count. That's not a reason to get married. Then how about this? His voice softened. I want you legally protected. As my wife, you get access to everything. My accounts, my properties, my security. If something happens to me, you're not left with nothing. That's even worse. You're proposing because you think you're going to die. I'm proposing because I want you to live. He pulled me closer. Sujin was right. Being close to me makes you a target. But being married to me? That makes you untouchable. My enemies know that hurting you would start a war they can't win. It was the most unromantic proposal I'd ever heard, and somehow it made sense. This is insane, I whispered. I know. People will say I'm using you for money. Let them. Your mother barely tolerates me. She gave her blessing already. I asked her yesterday. Of course he did. Min-jun didn't do anything halfway. I looked at Tae-sung, who was trying very hard to pretend he wasn't listening. What do you think? I asked him. He considered carefully. I think Min-jun hasn't been this human in 10 years, and I think you're the only person brave enough, or crazy enough, to love him anyway. That's not helpful. It's honest, he smiled. Also, I'm betting 50,000 won on you saying yes, so please don't make me lose. Despite everything, I laughed. Then I looked back at Min-jun. No ring? He reached into his pocket, pulled out a box. Inside was the most beautiful diamond I'd ever seen. Simple, elegant, clearly worth more than my entire existence. I've been carrying this for 2 weeks, he admitted, waiting for the right moment. Then I realized there's no right moment in this life, just the ones we make matter. He slid off the hospital chair, got down on one knee. In a room that smelled like antiseptic and fear, surrounded by the aftermath of violence, he asked me again, will you marry me? Not because it's safe, not because it's smart, but because we choose each other despite everything. I should have said no, should have run, should have chosen literally any other path. Yes, I said. The smile that crossed his face was worth every risk. Tae-sung cheered. Min-jun kissed me. And for one perfect moment, the world outside didn't exist. We got married 4 days later. It wasn't a big wedding, just his mother, Tae-sung, a few of Min-jun's most trusted people, and a judge who asked no questions. I wore a simple white dress Min-jun had commissioned. He wore a suit that probably cost more than a car. His mother cried. Actual tears. She pulled me aside before the ceremony. My son is not an easy man to love, she said. I know. But he loves you completely. I see it. The way he looks at you. It's how his father looked at me. She took my hands. Promise me you'll protect him. Not with guns or violence, but by reminding him he's still human. I promise. The ceremony was in Korean and English. I barely remember the words. Just the feeling of Min-jun's hand in mine, steady and sure. The way he said his vows like a promise and a prayer. When the judge pronounced us married, Min-jun kissed me like we had all the time in the world. We didn't, but we pretended anyway. The reception was at his penthouse, small, intimate. Tae-sung gave a speech that made everyone laugh, and Min-jun threatened to fire him. His mother toasted in Korean, something about love being stronger than blood. And for one night, we forgot about the Yakuza, about territory wars, about death and violence and impossible choices. We were just two people who'd found each other in the chaos. Later, alone in our room, Min-jun removed my necklace carefully, kissed my shoulder. No regrets? He asked. Ask me in 50 years. Deal. We made love as husband and wife. And I tried not to think about the fact that 50 years felt like an impossible dream. But maybe that's what love was, believing in impossible things anyway. The next morning, I woke up to find Min-jun already gone. There was a note. Meeting with the families. Back by noon. I love you, Mrs. Park. Mrs. Park. My new name, my new life. I was still smiling when the door exploded inward. I had exactly 7 seconds to decide how I wanted to die. The men who burst through the door weren't Min-jun's. Wrong tattoos, wrong energy. They moved with purpose. 3 of them, masked, armed with weapons that weren't meant to kill quickly. They wanted me alive. I grabbed the gun from the nightstand, the one Min-jun insisted I keep close, and fired. Hit one in the shoulder. He went down cursing in Japanese. But the other 2 were faster. One tackled me before I could fire again. The gun skittered across the floor. I fought, clawed, kicked, screamed, but training beats desperation every time. Something sharp pricked my neck. The room tilted. My vision blurred. The last thing I heard was one of them speaking into a radio. Package secured. Moved to extraction. Then nothing. I woke up in a basement. Concrete floor. Single light bulb. The smell of mold and something worse. My hands were zip-tied behind my back, ankles bound to a metal chair. Every muscle in my body screamed. She's awake. A woman's voice. Familiar. I blinked until my vision cleared. Soo-jin stepped into the light. Surprised? She smiled. You shouldn't be. I told you being close to Min-jun was dangerous. My throat was dry. You did this. I saved you from a slower death. Min-jun's enemies would have tortured you for information. I'm offering you a choice instead. What choice? She pulled up a chair, sat gracefully, like we were having tea instead of a hostage situation. Divorce him publicly. Say you were coerced, that you feared for your life, that the marriage was a mistake. And if I don't, then I give you to the Yakuza. They're very creative with pain. I'm told you can survive for days if they're careful. My heart hammered. Min-jun will kill you. Min-jun will never know it was me. As far as he's concerned, this is just another Yakuza attack. I'll be the loyal friend, helping him search for you. She leaned closer. But between us, I'm doing you a favor. You don't belong in this world. You never will. You love him. It wasn't a question. I saw it in her eyes. Years of wanting, of being overlooked, of watching him choose someone else. Soo-jin's expression hardened. I've known him since we were children. I've stood by him through everything. And he chooses a waitress he's known for months? It's insulting. So this is jealousy. This is survival. Mine and yours. She stood. You have 24 hours to decide. Divorce him and live. Or die slowly while he tears the city apart looking for you. She left me in the darkness. Hours passed. Maybe days. Time became elastic. They didn't torture me. Soo-jin kept her word on that. But the waiting was its own kind of hell. I thought about Min-jun, about the proposal, about the way he looked at me during our wedding vows, and I realized something. I wasn't afraid of dying. I was afraid of betraying him. The door opened again. Different man this time. Yakuza, based on the tattoos visible at his collar. Soo-jin says, "You're being stubborn," he said in accented English. "Maybe you need motivation." He pulled out his phone, showed me a video. Min-jun surrounded by bodies. His suit covered in blood, some his, most not. His face was empty, dead, the face of a man with nothing left to lose. "He's killed 15 of our men in the last 6 hours," the Yakuza soldier said. "Hunting for you. He won't stop until he's dead or you are. Then you'd better kill me fast." He laughed. "You've got spine. I respect that. But it won't save you. He raised his gun. The basement door exploded. Gunfire, screaming, chaos. I threw myself to the floor, chair and all, as bullets tore through the space above me. Then silence. Footsteps. Someone knelt beside me. Found you. Tae-sung. Bloody but alive. He cut my restraints with a knife. Can you walk? Yes. Then move. We have maybe 2 minutes before reinforcements arrive. He pulled me up the stairs. The house above was a war zone. Bodies everywhere. Min-jun's men securing exits. And in the center of it all, Min-jun. He saw me. Everything in his face cracked open. Relief, rage, love. He crossed the space in 3 strides and pulled me against him so hard I couldn't breathe. I thought, his voice broke. I thought I lost you. I'm okay. I'm here. He pulled back, cupped my face. His hands were shaking. I'd never seen him shake before. Who took you? This was the moment. I could lie, protect Soo-jin, keep Min-jun's world from shattering further. But I'd promised to remind him he was human, and humans deserve truth. Soo-jin, I said quietly. She's working with the Yakuza. The change in him was instant. The humanity drained away. What replaced it was pure, cold fury. Where is she? I don't know. She left hours ago. Min-jun turned to Tae-sung. Find her. Bring her to me alive. Min-jun, I started. Not now. He looked at me again. Did she hurt you? No. She wanted me to divorce you. Said she'd let me live if I did. And you said? I told her to go to hell. Despite everything, he almost smiled. That's my wife. We left the building as sirens approached. Min-jun's men had already cleaned the scene, bodies disappearing, evidence erased, like it never happened. In the car, Min-jun held me while I finally let myself fall apart. He didn't say anything, just held me while I shook. I was so scared, I whispered. I know, so was I. What are you going to do to her? His silence was answer enough. They found Soo-jin at the airport. She was trying to flee to Tokyo, carrying a bag with 2 million in cash and a fake passport. When they brought her to Min-jun's office, she didn't even look scared. I was there. Min-jun had asked me to be. You deserve to face her, he'd said. Soo-jin's eyes found mine immediately. Still alive. How disappointing. Sit. Min-jun's voice was ice. She sat. Still elegant. Still composed. Like she was attending a business meeting instead of her own execution. How long? Min-jun asked. How long what? How long have you been working with the Yakuza? 6 months. Since she arrived. Soo-jin looked at me with pure hatred. You ruined everything. He was focused, powerful, untouchable. Then you showed up and made him weak. She didn't make me weak, Min-jun said quietly. She made me remember what I was fighting for. Love? Soo-jin laughed bitterly. Love gets people killed in this world. I was protecting you from yourself. By kidnapping my wife, by working with our enemies, by betraying everything our families built together. I did it because I love you. The composure finally cracked. I've loved you since we were children. I've been loyal when everyone else betrayed you, and you chose her. Some random woman you saved on a whim. It was never a whim. Min-jun's voice was deadly calm. And you were never an option. The words hit her like bullets. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. What now? Soo-jin asked. You kill me? Make an example? That would be merciful. He pulled out a folder, slid it across the desk. These are records of every transaction you made with the Yakuza, every piece of information you sold, every plan you sabotaged. He leaned forward. I'm sending them to your family, to every associate, to everyone in our world. Soo-jin's face went white. You can't. You'll be exiled, hunted. Every family you betrayed will want blood, and I won't lift a finger to protect you. Min-jun, please. You wanted me to be the ruthless leader you remembered. Congratulations. You got your wish. I did this for us. No, you did this for you. He stood. You have 1 hour to leave the city. After that, you're fair game. Tae-sung and his men escorted her out. She was screaming, begging. It was the ugliest sound I'd ever heard. When the door closed, Min-jun sagged against his desk. I went to him. Are you okay? I asked. I just sentenced someone I grew up with to death. Someone who loved me. No, I'm not okay. She tried to have me killed. I know. Which is why she had to go. But that doesn't make it easy. I wrapped my arms around him. He held me like I was the only solid thing in his world. Is it always like this? I asked. Choosing between love and loyalty? In my world, yes. Every single day. How do you live with it? By holding on to the things that matter. By protecting what's mine. By making the hard choices so the people I love don't have to. We stood there in silence. Then his phone rang. He answered. Listened. His face went dark. What? I asked when he hung up. Soo-jin didn't make it to the airport. Someone intercepted her car. The Yakuza? Worse, her own family. They found out about the betrayal faster than I expected. Is she dead? Yes. I should have felt relief. Instead, I just felt tired. One less enemy, Min-jun said quietly. But there will always be more. Then we deal with them together. He looked at me. Really looked. You're not running. After everything, the kidnapping, the violence, almost dying, you're still here. I made a promise. In front of your mother and God. I don't break promises. Even when they might kill you? Especially then. He kissed me, slow and deep and desperate, like I was air and he'd been drowning. When we pulled apart, his phone was ringing again. Back to business. Back to the war that never ended. But this time, I stood beside him while he answered. His partner. His wife. His choice. The Yakuza had made their move. Soo-jin had failed. But Min-jun had something they didn't. Someone worth fighting for who fought back. That night, he took me to the roof. The city stretched out below us. Millions of lights, millions of lives, millions of secrets. I need to tell you something, he said. Okay? The war with the Yakuza, it's going to get worse before it gets better. There will be more attacks, more danger, more impossible choices. I know. You could still leave. I'd make sure you were protected. Set up somewhere safe, somewhere they'd never find you. Is that what you want? No, but I'd do it anyway if it meant you lived. I took his hand. I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck with me. Even if it means more blood. Even then. Because I'd rather fight beside you than hide from the world. He pulled me close. And for one perfect moment, standing above the city he ruled and the chaos we'd created, we were just two people who'd chosen each other. Everything else was just noise. I found out I was pregnant on the same day Min-jun declared war on the Yakuza. The timing was almost funny. Almost. I was in the bathroom, staring at two pink lines, when I heard him on the phone in the next room. His voice was cold, controlled, final. "Tell Yamamoto if he wants Seoul, he can come take it from my corpse. We're done negotiating." He hung up. I heard him pour a drink, then silence. I looked at the test again. Real. Undeniable. A life growing inside me in the middle of a war zone. When I came out, Min-jun knew immediately something was wrong. "What is it?" I handed him the test. He stared at it for a long moment, then sat down heavily on the bed. "How long have you known?" "About 3 minutes longer than you." "This changes everything." "I know." He looked up at me. "We can't bring a child into this. Not now. Not with—" "I'm not getting rid of it." The words came out harder than I meant. "I know the timing is terrible. I know we're in danger. But I wasn't asking you to." He stood, pulled me close. "I'm just terrified. More than I've ever been." "Me too." We stood there, holding each other, while the weight of it settled. A baby. Our baby, growing in the middle of chaos. "No one can know," Min-jun said finally. "Not until this is over. The moment the Yakuza find out you're pregnant, you become an even bigger target." "What about your mother?" "Especially not her. She'll want to protect you, move you somewhere safe, and that will signal weakness." So we kept the secret. Just the two of us, in a slowly growing life that neither of us were ready for. The war escalated quickly. 3 of Min-jun's warehouses burned in 1 week. 2 of his associates disappeared. The Yakuza were making their move. Systematic, calculated, designed to bleed him dry. Min-jun responded in kind. I didn't ask for details. Didn't want to know how many bodies were stacking up because of us. But then something unexpected happened. A meeting request came from an unlikely source, the Chinese Triad. They controlled the territories north of Seoul and had stayed neutral in the conflict, until now. Why would they reach out? I asked. Because the Yakuza are overreaching, Min-jun explained. If they take Seoul, they'll push north next. The Triad sees the threat. So what, you team up? Possibly. Enemy of my enemy and all that. The meeting was set for neutral ground, a restaurant owned by neither family. Min-jun wanted me to come. Why? I asked. Because they'll try to read me, look for weakness. But if you're there, calm, collected, clearly not afraid, it sends a message. That you're stable. That we're unbreakable. So I put on my armor, a black dress that hid my barely there baby bump. Heels that could double as weapons, makeup that made me look fierce instead of terrified. The Triad leader was a woman. That surprised me. Everything about Mrs. Chen surprised me. She was maybe 60, elegant, with eyes that missed nothing. Mrs. Park, she said, extending her hand. I've heard interesting things about you. All lies, I'm sure. She laughed. I like her, Min-jun. She has spine. We sat. Tea was poured, pleasantries exchanged. Then Mrs. Chen got to business. The Yakuza are a problem for both of us. Yamamoto is ambitious, reckless. He won't stop at Seoul. Agreed, Min-jun said. So I propose an alliance, temporary, until the threat is neutralized. And afterward, we return to our respective territories, maintain the peace our families have kept for 30 years. It was a good offer. Too good. What's the catch? I asked. Mrs. Chen smiled. Smart woman. The catch is trust. I need assurance that you won't turn on us the moment the Yakuza fall. What kind of assurance? She looked directly at me. You, as a liaison between our families, a bridge of goodwill. Min-jun tensed beside me. Absolutely not. Not as a hostage, Mrs. Chen clarified. As a partner, someone both families trust, someone with no blood loyalty to either side. She's my wife. Exactly. Which makes her perfect. You won't betray us while she's involved, and she won't betray you because she loves you. Mutual insurance. I should have been offended, should have walked out, but I understood the logic. In this world, trust was currency, and I was the most valuable coin Min-jun had. I'll do it, I said. No, Min-jun started. Yes, I looked at him. This ends the war, protects our people, gives our... I caught myself. Gives us a future. I'll do it. Mrs. Chen nodded approvingly. Wise choice. We'll announce the alliance tomorrow. The alliance changed everything. Within 24 hours, the Yakuza were surrounded. Min-jun's forces from the south, the triad from the north. Yamamoto had overplayed his hand. But cornered animals are the most dangerous. The attack came at dawn. Not at Min-jun's headquarters, not at the triad compound, at his mother's house. They knew exactly where to hit to make it hurt. I woke to Min-jun's phone ringing, saw his face go white. What? My mother. They have my mother. We were in the car in minutes. Tae-sung driving like the world was ending. Maybe it was. This is my fault, Min-jun said quietly. I should have moved her. Should have. She refused to leave her home. You told me yourself. I should have forced her. When we arrived, the house was surrounded. Yakuza soldiers everywhere. And on the front lawn, visible through the gate, was Min-jun's mother. On her knees, a gun to her head. Yamamoto stood beside her. Min-jun Park, he called out, let's talk. Min-jun started forward. I grabbed his arm. It's a trap. I don't care, that's my mother. And this is our child. The word slipped out. Quiet, desperate. He froze. What? I'm pregnant. 3 months. And if you walk out there and die, we both lose everything. For a moment, he just stared at me. Then he looked back at his mother, then at me again. The impossible choice. Let me go, I said. I'm the liaison, the neutral party. Let me negotiate. Absolutely not. He won't kill me? I'm too valuable as a hostage. But he will kill her to get to you. I can't lose both of you. You won't. Trust me. I didn't wait for permission. I walked toward the gate. Mrs. Park, Yamamoto smiled. How kind of you to join us. Let her go. This is between you and Min-jun. Oh, but it's so much more than that now. The great Min-jun Park, brought to his knees by women. How poetic. What do you want? Seoul, all of it. Every territory, every operation. Everything his family built. In exchange for his mother's life. Yes. I looked at Min-jun's mother. She was terrified but trying to hide it. She gave me the smallest shake of her head. Don't do it. And if he refuses, I asked. Then I kill her, and the war continues until there's nothing left of either family. I could hear Min-jun behind me, Tae-sung holding him back. Probably the hardest thing his second in command ever had to do. There's another option, I said. Oh? Trial by combat. You and Min-jun. One-on-one. Winner takes Seoul. Loser walks away. Yamamoto laughed. You've been watching too many movies. I'm serious. You claim Min-jun is weak because of me? Prove it. Fight him yourself. No weapons, no backup, just skill. The challenge hung in the air. And if I refuse? Yamamoto asked. Then you're the coward, and everyone here knows it. His face darkened. Pride. I'd counted on it. Fine, but when I win, I take everything, including you. Deal. Min-jun was going to kill me if Yamamoto didn't first. They cleared a space, set the rules, no weapons, no interference. Fight until submission or death. Min-jun pulled me aside. What the hell are you doing? Giving you a chance. You can beat him. That's not the point. The point is your mother lives. Our baby gets a chance. And this ends today. He looked at me like I was insane. Maybe I was. If I lose, you won't. But if I do, then I'll figure it out, like I always do. The fight was brutal. Yamamoto was good, trained, vicious. He fought like someone with nothing to lose. But Min-jun fought like someone with everything to protect. Blood, broken bones, the sound of fists hitting flesh. I couldn't watch, couldn't look away. Min-jun went down twice, got back up both times. On the third knockdown, he stayed down longer. Stay down, I screamed. Please? But he got up anyway, because that's who he was. The final blow came when Yamamoto overextended. Min-jun caught his arm, twisted, and broke it with a crack that made everyone flinch. Yamamoto collapsed, screaming. Yield, Min-jun said quietly. Never. Min-jun's foot pressed against his throat. Yield or die. Your choice. Yamamoto's men were already lowering their weapons. Their leader had lost. The war was over. I yield, Yamamoto choked out. Min-jun stepped back, went immediately to his mother, cut her restraints, held her while she cried. Then he came to me, bloody, broken, victorious. You're pregnant, he said. Yes. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Because you would have made different choices. Worse ones. He pulled me against him despite the blood and pain. We're having a baby. Yes. In the middle of all this. Yes. And somehow, impossibly, he laughed. 6 months later, I was standing in the same diner where it all started. Different now. Min-jun had bought the building, renovated it, turned it into something beautiful. But he'd kept the booths, the counter, the bell above the door, all the pieces of who I used to be. Why here? I asked him. He was setting up a high chair near our usual table. Because this is where I first saw you, where everything changed. Our daughter, 3 months old, perfect, impossible, slept in my arms. We named her Jiwon. It meant ambition of wisdom, Min-jun's choice. She has your eyes, he said, touching her tiny hand. And your stubbornness. He smiled. actually smiled. The kind of smile I rarely saw in those early days. The kind that made him look young. The war had ended with Yamamoto's defeat. The Yakuza had retreated. The alliance with the Triad held. Seoul was secure. But security came with a price. Min-jun had stepped back from the day-to-day operations. Let Tae-sung handle more. Spent less time in boardrooms and more time at home. He was trying, really trying, to be something other than what he'd been raised to be. Do you miss it? I asked. The power? The control? Sometimes. Then Ji-won cries at 3 a.m. and I'm too exhausted to remember why any of it mattered. I laughed. Parenthood looks good on you. Liar. I look terrible. He did look tired. We both did. But we looked happy too. David had sent a letter from prison. Just one. I saw the announcement about your daughter. Congratulations. I mean that. You deserve happiness, even if I couldn't give it to you. I'd shown it to Min-jun. He'd read it twice, then filed it away without comment. Some ghosts deserve to rest. My sister visited monthly now, bringing food, baby clothes, unsolicited advice. She'd been terrified at first, of Min-jun, of his world, of what I'd become. But watching him change a diaper while cursing in Korean had softened her. He's not what I expected, she'd admitted. He's not what anyone expected, including himself. Min-jun's mother had moved into a guest house on our property, close enough to help with Ji-won, but far enough to give us privacy. She'd taken to grandmotherhood with fierce joy. She has the Park family spirit, she'd say, watching Ji-won grip her finger. Strong, stubborn, survivor. God help us, Min-jun would mutter. But I caught him smiling when he said it. Mrs. Chen from the Triad sent gifts, expensive ones. A crib made of rare wood, silk blankets embroidered with protection symbols, a jade bracelet for Ji-won's first birthday. She's investing in the future, Min-jun explained. Our daughter is not a business asset. In this world, everything is a business asset, but he looked at our sleeping baby. She's more than that. She's proof that something good can come from all this darkness. The diner opened officially the next week, not as a diner, as a community center. Free meals for families in need, job training programs, a safe space Min-jun funded anonymously. Why anonymous? I'd asked. Because charity for reputation is just ego. This is about actually helping people. He was changing. Slowly, not completely. He was still dangerous, still had enemies, still made hard choices. But fatherhood had cracked something open in him. Let light in where there had only been shadows. We didn't talk about Sujin anymore, or Kenji, or the people who died because of us. Those ghosts lived in the silence between words, in the way Min-jun sometimes woke up gasping, in how I still checked locks twice before sleeping. Trauma doesn't disappear. You just learn to carry it better. I've been thinking, Min-jun said, watching me feed Ji-won. Dangerous. About retiring. Really retiring. Selling the operations to Tae-sung. Walking away completely. I looked at him. You'd go crazy within a month. Maybe. But maybe I'd also get to see our daughter's first steps. Her first words. Maybe I'd get to grow old instead of dying young. You're serious. I'm terrified. But yes, it was the most honest he'd ever been. What would you do instead? I asked. I don't know. Learn to cook. Travel? Be boring? He touched my face. Be yours, fully, without the weight of everything else. I fell in love with all of you, including the dangerous parts. I know, but our daughter deserves a father who comes home every night, who doesn't have blood on his hands. He paused. Don't you want that? I want you alive, however that looks. Ji-won woke up then, started crying. Min-jun took her immediately, started that gentle swaying motion he'd perfected, whispering to her in Korean, promises about the future, apologies for the past. And watching him, this man who'd killed for me, fought for me, chosen me against all logic, I realized something. We'd survived, not just the violence or the war or the impossible choices. We'd survived becoming different people, better people, together. I love you, I said. He looked up. Even now? After everything? Especially now, because of everything. The bell above the diner door chimed. Our first visitors, a young mother with 2 kids, nervous, hungry, looking for help. Min-jun handed Ji-won back to me, went to greet them, offered food, resources, kindness. And I saw our future, not in palaces or penthouses, but here, in the mess and beauty of trying to be better than what we'd been. Sometimes revenge isn't about payback. It's about building something beautiful from the ashes. And if this story showed you that love can survive anything when 2 people refuse to give up on each other, then subscribe right now. Because somewhere, someone else is fighting their own war, wondering if they'll make it through. Your one click reminds them that survival isn't just possible, it's worth it. Don't just watch these stories. Be part of the community that believes in second chances. Hit that subscribe button. Let's walk this road together.